ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Wednesday, May 22nd. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. Coming up today on the program, we're going to hear from Marshall's ace lefty, Bryce Blevins. He joins us on the program. Of course, Marshall's season coming to an end before the conference tournament began. However, it's still good to catch up with Bryce. We'll talk to him about the season, what his expectations were, and what the future looks like for him. So he's coming up later on the program, about 5:30, so we'll have him. But until then, we'll keep the text line wide open for you. We got a lot to get into today. I think the biggest news we got to talk about is, of course, scheduling changing for the Thundering Herd. First up, we find out today, and this was according to FBS Schedules. I don't know if you use that website. Great place to keep track of future schedules for all college football. But according to reporting from FBS Schedules, and they confirmed it, Marshall and Army, that series has been mutually canceled. Originally, the first game was set for August 30th of 2025, and that was going to be at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. I mean, that's an exciting game. You get Army coming in, a traditional, old-school college football program, one of the service academies. Army's been playing football longer than a lot of programs even existed. I mean, that's one of those programs. It doesn't matter if they're not competing for national championships anymore. That's Army. And so they were going to come to Huntington and no longer. And, of course, Marshall had a return game on October 10th of 2026, and that was going to be up in West Point. That's always a fun trip, get to play one of the service academies. And so that game no longer happening. So part of that, and it wasn't anything to do with Marshall, it's just Army's got to reconfigure its schedule. It's now going to be in the AAC. And so there's going to be a lot of adjustments to the schedule. Army has competed as an independent for almost 20 years. And now that they're going to be in a conference, they're going to have those conference obligations. Also, the Army-Navy game's actually going to remain a non-conference game, and Air Force has got to be on the schedule as well. So you've got your regular set of games in conference, and then you keep Navy as a non-conference opponent. You got to play the Army-Navy game. That just has to happen. And you also have to play Air Force. Their service academies not playing each other, that just doesn't make sense. So there were some sacrifices that had to be made. And so with the series canceled, Army's left with about 6 scheduled games in 2025 and 5 in 2026. There's probably going to be some more cancellations coming down the line, but that's the news coming out today, that the Marshall Army football series no longer. And now on top of that, earlier today, Luke Creasy from HD Media reporting that he spoke with Marshall Athletic Director Christian Spears. And so there's another adjustment on the Marshall football schedule. There was a home-and-home series set with Western Michigan. It's now a one-game contract. Now, the game is still happening. It's September 28th this season. Now, the return game was set to be originally September 6, 2025. That's now canceled. So Marshall doesn't have to return the game. And this came about because originally, and again, Luke Creasy reporting, this game was set for September 14th, 2024. That was the date originally on the calendar. And this was agreed upon 5 years ago. This predates Christian Spears. Western Michigan requested a date change. And so part of the deal to shift to a new date within the same season, there was an agreement to drop the return game. So Marshall will get the home game and then not have to return the game. And I don't know how you feel at this moment about losing games on the schedule. We'll see what the schedule looks like when it's filled out. But there's always been that resistance by a lot of people about MAC schools on the schedule. There was a resistance to MAC schools on the schedule, and Marshall was in the MAC. Of course, Marshall was having success at that time, transitioning successfully from then 1AA to 1A. Marshall loaded for years, able to win several MAC championships, go to several bowls as a school out of the Mid-American Conference, really elevating the profile of the Mid-American Conference. And then the league started to catch up to Marshall. That was part of it. The league started to catch up with Marshall. And so it was a little bit more competitive. Marshall not as loaded as it once was. And, of course, there were some transition years. Marshall going into Conference USA. Bob Pruitt retiring from the Thundering Herd. You have Mark Snyder. Not the best time in Conference USA for the Thundering Herd. But there's always been that resistance to play these MAC schools. And anecdotal as it may be, the vibe I get from a lot of people, indirectly and directly, is Marshall's better than MAC schools. That's just the way it's been. You know I'm not lying. You can attest to that. You've probably told me that. Marshall should not lose to MAC schools. Marshall should not be competing with MAC schools. It's the end of the world as we know it when Marshall loses to a MAC school, be it football, basketball. Now, soccer, they're pretty good. We can excuse that one. So how do you feel? You lose Army, and you also, after you lose Army, you lose a game on the road next year against Western Michigan. Now, what will the replacement games look like for the Thundering Herd? That's going to be the big challenge. And, of course, I'm sure we've got some surprises still coming, hopefully. We'll find out sooner than later. Is there a non-conference opponent that you would like to see the Thundering Herd play? Think about it. Is this an opportunity to bring a couple of series back? Would you be okay with taking on Ohio more? Just play Ohio on a more regular basis? How about that? Would you play them? I'm always a fan of playing the Marshall-Ohio series. I've always been a big fan of that one. Only because, let's be honest, it's one of Marshall's closest rivals. It's a game that I think should be played. It makes sense. At least it makes sense to me. It's a series that you can travel to easily. You can get to Athens pretty easily. It's a good series. But there's always pushback on that. So now if you look at the Marshall schedule, we know what 2024 looks like. Stony Brook. That's give me the win. Here's your check. Have a nice day. That's a check for a win game. At Virginia Tech, that's a good game. At Ohio State, Marshall possibly could start off 1-2. Maybe Marshall gets Virginia Tech, and all of a sudden Marshall's 2-0 going into Ohio State. How about that? It's a possibility. And then you got Western Michigan. Marshall could be, after this non-conference slate, could be 1-3, 2-2, 3-1. Think of the unthinkable. Marshall could shock the world, get Ohio State 4-0. And then you look at 2025. You're at Middle Tennessee. That's it. That's all you have on the schedule. 2026, you're at Penn State, and then you play host to Middle Tennessee. 2027, at the moment, at Ohio. Going to Athens. Fun road trip. Boise State and Bowling Green coming to Huntington. So in 2027, you've got two MAC schools coming in, one on the road, one you're playing host to. So two MAC schools coming into the schedule. I don't think that changes. 2028 at Wisconsin. Will this show still be here in 2028? Will this show still be here? Will we be here in 2028? And then you're taking on Ohio, and then you've got Central Connecticut still to be determined. And then 2029, you've got Ohio on the road. So Ohio, 2027, 2028, 2029. I say you keep that. Don't touch it. Leave that be. Play Ohio. But in 2025, you've got some possibilities. Do you take a money game? Do you take two money games? I would think Virginia Tech and Ohio State are money games. You're taking those. Those are money games. Ohio State's more of a money game than Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's actually beatable. Of the two, Marshall's got a good shot at taking Virginia Tech. I think that's fair to say. Marshall could legitimately beat Virginia Tech. Who knows? We never know with this transfer portal in this day and age. But I think Marshall's got a legit shot at beating Virginia Tech. And that's sight unseen right now. So I'm a little optimistic here. Maybe too much, but I'm optimistic that, hey, you know what? This non-conference schedule, Ohio State's going to be tough, but Marshall could do all right. But then you got to figure out what you're doing in 2025. Are we getting to the point where we're at the end of the so-called autonomy schools, the power schools? Are we getting close to the end of seeing the power schools play in Huntington? Are we getting close to that? Are we already there? I mean, Marshall's at Penn State in 2026. Penn State's not coming to Huntington. Marshall's not getting Ohio State to come to Huntington. That's never going to happen. And Marshall's going to be at Wisconsin in 2028. Is Wisconsin, it's a power school, but it's not like a power school year in and year out. Not the way Ohio State is. But, Wisconsin, what would benefit Wisconsin to come to Huntington? So what do we got? What do we got in the future here for the schedule? What will the opponents look like? Will the schedule be money games and then games like Stony Brook? Who's the Stony Brook of 2025? You got to have a game like that. You can open up, get yourself a win, feel good. Or do you want to see a different approach to the schedule? What do you want to see from the schedule? It's a blank canvas. It absolutely is a blank canvas now. And I'm sure there's already some things in the works. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a phone call. Somebody will tell us some breaking news here soon. Tell us what's happening, and then we'll tell you. But we go to the text line. Texter says, Paul, I think Marshall and Ohio should play every year. It will never happen, but I would like to see Marshall play Kentucky sometime. I would love to see that game. Kentucky's not coming to Huntington. SEC schools not coming to Huntington. But I would love to see that on the schedule. Marshall play Kentucky. Probably wouldn't happen on a yearly basis, but you could get that game on the schedule now and then. It would make sense from a standpoint that a lot of Marshall fans think they're Kentucky fans anyway, to be quite honest. Who would Bill Cornwell root for? Our news director who has a love for both, for Marshall and Kentucky. If he's not wearing Kentucky gear and he's not wearing UCLA gear, he's wearing Marshall gear. Who's he going to root for? Who does Bill take? And he's not alone. There are so many Marshall, Kentucky fans here. Think about it. Who do Marshall fans take? Marshall, obviously, right? But there's a lot that are on the fence. There are a lot are on the fence here. They're Kentucky fans. Hey, we root for both. We root for Marshall. We root for Kentucky. We root for both. Who do we root for here? I think Bill would take Marshall. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to ask him. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number to the show. Still to come, we're going to hear from Bryce Blevins, Marshall's ace lefty. He's coming up at 5:30, but we'll get your text in when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
America Strong. It's what we're all about. And to keep America strong, all Glockner locations are offering our lowest live market prices so you save big. And with our partnership with Kelley Blue Book, the Glockner buying centers are able to offer $2,000 above current market value for your current vehicle. That's how we're keeping America strong at the Glockner family of dealerships.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Get in the groove. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West 9th Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua Sauvignon Blanc. Kick off the summer Friday, May 24th. It's Funkta-Fest night with the MFB on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for June 21st for a ticket to ride to 9th Street Live, a celebration of the Beatles with the Newbies. Friday, August 2nd, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity High-Speed Internet, and Kindred Communications.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage. There was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle. Unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Wednesday, May 22nd edition, The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Still to come on the program, we're going to hear from Bryce Blevins, Marshall's ace lefty. He's coming up on the program at about 5:30, so we'll talk to him. So until we talk to Bryce, there's a lot more that's happening today for the Thundering Herd. And, of course, recruiting. First of all, we'll start with football. Football signing Parker Brolt. He is an offensive lineman from Palestine High School. He is a class of 2025 recruit. He's rated as a 3-star player. He's 6'3", 270 pounds, and he received offers from several schools, including Akron, Bowling Green, Coastal Carolina, Illinois State, Miami, Ohio, Navy, Toledo, and Western Kentucky. He is ranked as the 59th overall prospect in Illinois, according to 247 Sports, and the 143rd offensive lineman prospect in the nation. We're trying to book for the show tomorrow after her signing, but Marshall Track and Field is going to pick up Haley Crum from Spring Valley High School tomorrow. So we're going to try to get her on the show sometime here in the near future. Crum was named the 2024 Mountain State Athletic Conference Female Athlete of the Year, and she was the Mountain State Athletic Conference 2024 Conference Champion in both the 100-meter and the long jump. She also finished as the 2024 state runner-up in the girls' long jump. Also played a little basketball at Spring Valley, and she earned Mountain State Athletic Conference All-Conference honors. Obviously, that's a good pickup for Thundering Herd. Marshall had a track team, but was Marshall track really an option for many of the top prospects in the state of West Virginia a few years ago? I mean, as the indoor facility was built and Marshall started to take advantage of that, I think that Marshall started to become a little bit more of a viable option. And now that there's been a shift, more resources putting into the program, I'm sure facilities are going to follow outdoor, indoor. You got to have things that are viable. But would you have seen a local prospect make this decision a few years ago? I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to tell. A lot of people, they decide based on what works for them. But Marshall's now become a little bit more viable across the board. And, of course, with more track, including outdoor track and field, men's track team now. We've got a men's outdoor track and field team here. Track is a viable option. It also helps with football recruiting. There's going to be that time when a player wants to run track, and Marshall has track now. So we're going to try to get Haley on the program. We'll find out tomorrow. She's going to be signing her letter of intent to play, race, run, compete for the Thundering Herd. And then we got one more recruit. We don't know much about her just yet. She's from France. We don't I don't know. We might have a listening base, an audience, a listenership in France. We do go international. We do have people stream the show from different countries. Let us know if you stream the show from a different country. Emma Duran, she played for FC Nantes. That's it. That's all we know. She's coming to the Thundering Herd. We'll get hopefully a more detailed biography on her here in the near future. But the Thundering Herd picking up some recruits across the board, including football. That's probably the big one today. Hopefully we'll hear something else soon when it comes to basketball. Still got some business to take care of there. All right, let's turn our attention when we continue to baseball. Coming up, you know him as BB8. He's Marshall's ace. He's Brian Blevins. He joins us next on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on everything for your next project at Menards. It doesn't matter what job you're up against. Works cordless power tools and lawn equipment have the power for you to get the job done faster and easier. The power-shared 20-volt batteries run longer on a single charge, and they can be used with other Works tools. Check out Menards' entire selection of Works cordless power tools and lawn equipment today on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of their timeshares. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-226-8833. That's 800-226-8833. 800-226-8833.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So, I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I want to welcome to the program now one of Marshall's aces in the bullpen. You always know it's going to be a good day when Bryce Blevins is on the mound, and Bryce is with us now. How you doing, brother?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm well. I am well. So we got a lot to talk about. The season just wrapped up for you, but
yeah,
you got a lot of hardware for it. I know you want some more and some different types of hardware, but you were honored a lot this year, and people know now that it's going to be a long day at work when you're on the mound.
Yeah, it was definitely, a season to remember for me. All those accomplished, at the end of the day, it's something for yourself, but I'm ready to get back to work and get excited, ready for next year.
Where do you think you've improved the most? Where have you seen your progress this season?
Really, just the overall aspect of understanding, college baseball and understanding how to pitch, Division I hitters. In high school, you usually get away with a miss down the middle, and at this level, of college baseball, you can't do that at all. You can't leave a pitch right over the heart of the plate, or it's definitely going to get hit hard. And just understanding, like I said, how to pitch to guys at this level, and just being even better for myself after having on year two, after year one.
Of course, year two was pretty special. Marshall finally getting Jack Cook Field ready to go, so you got an opportunity to finally play at Marshall's real permanent home here for baseball. I know that experience had to be exciting for you that first year.
Oh, it was, there's nothing, I've said it over and over, there's nothing like playing at home, especially this year now that we finally have a home field, and seeing, every game that we ever played at home, especially on Saturdays whenever I'd get the ball to start, the game off, and walking out there to the mound and just looking all around, seeing all that green, and, just knowing everybody's truly behind you, for every pitch that you threw, everyone was behind you, and I couldn't ask for any better fans other than them.
How important was it in your development to go from you don't know where you're playing on a weekly basis, and you now have everything you possibly could want and need, from facilities to support? That's got to be instrumental in your development.
It is. Oh, it is. You look around, college baseball, and, you see all these other colleges, they have, everything that, you would want. And, we didn't have that. I'm not trying to knock the YMCA field at all. I was blessed that we could even have, a field, and lucky enough to have one. But after getting the brand new Jack Cook Field, it was something, from a player development standpoint that you just really have to have nowadays. It came to that point of time that, having a nice stadium, nice facilities, coaches that, can coach at a high level, from a training staff, athletic training staff, people that can recover you as quick as possible and get you back out there no matter, if you're sore or hurt, so it was really big. It's really big and only going to go up from here throughout the next couple of years.
Now that Marshall has Jack Cook Field and you see the commitment to the university, usually you look at different sports, players are hitting the transfer portal all the time. I feel like with Marshall's going to become more of a destination than a place to exit from, especially with how competitive the Sun Belt is. And this team has really shown that get the right pieces and it can compete and compete in a well-regarded league.
Yeah. Oh, that's, I've said it over and over after, our season, finally concluded. We were a lot of times you look at our record and, from a fan standpoint, it's a loss, but from our, being a player on the team and everything, and from a coach standpoint, you got to look at, how many games we really lost, just getting absolutely beat, you know what I mean? And you look at our schedule, and a lot of games we lost by one or two runs, and I don't know how many losses we ended up having, but I guarantee over 3/4 of our losses were 1 to 2 to 3 runs, and they were all because of simple mistakes. They really were when it came down to it. We had a lot of runners on this year, or made an error, or didn't, and sometimes we didn't execute a pitch and got hurt. Off a simple home run, and that lost us the game. But it's just the simple things like that. But again, it's really something to look forward to, and I'm excited to see how far it can go from here.
Our guest is Bryce Blevins. He's Mr. Everything at Marshall University, including Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Week 4 times, first in program history. Yeah, first team All Sun Belt Conference. You even had 11 strikeouts against Georgia State. You know, it was an okay day for you. So you've done a few things so far.
Yeah, I'm blessed and thankful. I got to receive all those different, accolades to add to my resume and everything. But there's definitely more work to be done. I'll take winning over anything that I could ever receive individually. And that's just the thing about me. I'm a team guy, and I want nothing more than to bring a Sun Belt championship back to, Marshall and go on a run in the NCAA tournament by the time I'm done here.
I mean, that's possible now at Marshall, and you got a lot of players who have left, who've been with the program. So the good news is they were able to finish out their career at Jack Cook Field, and now you have a lot of opportunity to bring in a lot of guys, help you not only in offense but pitching as well. How excited is this team for that prospect that this team might not be recognizable in the next couple of years?
Oh, it's going to be exciting times. I'll say it right now, and it's this year it was exciting times this year. We got to open up the brand new ballpark. Everybody was excited, and like I said, we may have had a lot more losses than wins this year, but I can promise you over even next year and the year after that, it's going to be completely different. That's, I promise I can make, and that I'm excited to, bring the energy to the Jack. And, our team, I can tell you right now, our team's gonna want to go out there and compete every pitch, every play, every at bat. We're definitely gonna want it more than the other team at the end of the game. And that's, something that I believe that the next 2 years that we'll have more than anything as a identity, and I'm excited for it.
Now, I don't know how many people know this. I'm sure Herd fans know this, but not everybody. Yeah, there's a family connection as well. Your uncle, he played baseball at Marshall, so you've got one up on him now as far as getting to play at Jack Cook Field. How jealous is he? What are those conversations like? We talk about it all the time when we're on the phone or I get to see him. He got to play here his junior year before, getting drafted after that year. But they played everywhere, really. They, from Charleston. They actually played in my hometown a couple of games in Louisa, Kentucky. I'm only an hour from Huntington and everything. And, it's a big joke all the time. So he really enjoyed getting to come to games this year and, getting to just see everything that he wished that he had whenever he was playing. But it's been a really good time, and I'm glad that he got the chance to watch, me get to perform in Jack Cook Stadium. How emotional was it for him to finally be at that baseball park to see that reality?
Oh, it's something I'm sure he wished he always had. Like you said, we're basically home. We're basically, from Huntington, even though we're from an hour away in Kentucky. But so for him, to get to see it, and especially that first weekend, or when he got to see, everybody was coming in that he used to play with, and so it brought back a lot of memories, I'm sure, for him, and it was a special moment, I'm sure.
Our guest, the ace for the Thundering Herd, Bryce Blevins, multiple winner of multiple awards in the Sun Belt this year. Now, I think a lot of us were disappointed, and we know why. We know why. We got to make sure that you're good to go for next season. But you were originally slated to be part of the Coal Cats, and that's changed since. It's just going to be exciting to have minor league baseball back in Huntington, and I'm sure a lot of fans would have been happy to see you out there. But I guess the good news for you is you get to go to more games now and just watch.
Yeah, I'm taking the summer to, I had a lot of innings this year and really kind of step back and get back to work, on myself, really. I slated a lot of innings this year for us and really get to focus on myself for these next couple months and, go out there next year and have an even better year, bring a high energy level, to Jack Cook every weekend, and I can't wait. I'm excited.
My guest, Bryce Blevins, Marshall's ace on the mound. He joins us on the program. All things considered, though, where are you at expectation-wise compared to reality? Where are you at?
I really like to say stuff day by day. I really do. I can, sit here and I can promise, everybody I will be back at Marshall next year, without a doubt. I can sit here and say that. obviously, I have big goals and dreams of, making it, professionally. And, I believe that day will come over time. But right now, I got to work. I got to work every day to get better, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Our guest, Bryce Blevins, good luck, man. I know it's going to be a fun summer for you. We can't wait to see you back on the mound, and I know that there's going to be a lot more Herd fans ready to go now that they know what's in the future for the baseball team. And so congratulations.
Definitely.
Outstanding season, and we hope to have you back soon.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
That's Bryce Blevins. He is definitely going to be one to watch in the upcoming season. Already one of the standout players for Greg Beals and that Marshall baseball team. I would love to see him play for the Coldcats, but I think the responsible thing is that he's not. Honestly, I want to see him healthy, ready to go for the Thundering Herd. And he has more of a name for himself now also. I don't think he needs the extra work. He needs to get himself ready to go for the next year, be smart about it. Also, his name's out there now. There are going to be a lot of guys that are prospects that are going to play tremendous baseball you might not know about when you see the Coldcats play for both the visiting teams and, of course, the home team. So there's going to be a lot of talent out there that's going to get maybe the opportunity to shine. I think a guy like Bryce Blevins would have shined, but I want to keep him healthy and ready to go on the Thundering Herd side of things. Would have been fun to see him throw out that first pitch for a Coldcats team. That would have been fun. All right, let's get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Basement Authority of West Virginia. We put water back in its place. Go to basementauthorityofwv.com. License number WV0274735067.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Get in the groove. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West 9th Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua Sauvignon Blanc. Kick off the summer Friday, May 24th. It's Funk-to-Fest night with the MFB on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for June 21st for a ticket to ride to 9th Street Live, a celebration of the Beatles with the Newbies. Friday, August 2nd, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity High-Speed Internet, and Kindred Communications.
Today, I'm up and I'm moving, parking a little farther away from the store to get some extra steps in. Today, I'm making healthy choices like fresh fruits and vegetables, lowering my A1C and improving my blood pressure. Today, the little things add up so that tomorrow I can celebrate what I did for my health today.
Sponsored by West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Public Health, Division of Health Promotion and Chronic Disease Prevention, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 800-694-1010. Details on example rate at selectquote.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back. It's our Wednesday, May 22nd edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got baseball action coming up tonight right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as the Pittsburgh Pirates take on the San Francisco Giants. 6:15's airtime right here on your home of Pirates baseball, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Last night, the Pirates got the win over the Giants with a 7-6 victory. That had to go to 10 innings. Cleveland got the win against New York. The Mets go down 7-6 last night. And the Reds, they got a victory. They shut out the San Diego Padres 2-0. Guardians are taking on the Mets again, and the Reds will face off against the Padres. Reds and Padres coming up later on tonight as well. Busy night in pro sports. We got the NBA. We've got the National Hockey League. All of that is starting to ramp back up as we've got, of course, the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Finals beginning tonight. That should be a fun one. It's going to be the Florida Panthers taking on the New York Rangers. It is set for a 8 o'clock start on ESPN. And NBA last night, the Celtics got the better of the Pacers in overtime, 133-128, game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. So Boston now up 1-0. Jason Tatum led the Celtics with 36 points. Jaylen Brown's game-tying three-pointer did force overtime, but Tyrese Halliburton led the Pacers with an impressive double-double, 25 points, 10 assists. But the Celtics, just a little too much. 3 players recording 25 points in a game and 3 steals. That's pretty good. So good work last night from the Celtics. Tonight, the Mavericks face the Timberwolves, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. That's coming up later this evening on TNT. And we're going to have that game on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So I'm looking forward to all of that. NFL, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, the NFL is making your day. Now, I don't know what the excitement is to stand in the middle of a field to watch a stage for the draft. I mean, I can watch it at home. First night's kind of fun. I know it's a party atmosphere, it's festival atmosphere, but the NFL draft 2026 will be in Pittsburgh. They're going to have it outside the stadium off the North Shore. So it's going to be right on the North Shore, right off the stadium. I'm interested to see what it looks like. But this thing in Detroit had a record-breaking attendance of 775,000 fans over the course of the event. So it's coming to Pittsburgh. So if you have wanted to go to the draft and never could, now's your chance. It's going to be a madhouse in Pittsburgh for that. A lot of Steelers fans. Oh, boy, we get to see all the Steeler Nation with their terrible towels cheering on their draft pick and booing everybody else. I'm excited for that. Something else came out of the NFL today. They're going to use optical tracking for yardage rulings during preseason games to test the accuracy of line-to-gain rulings. They've experimented with this before, but they've been trying to get it installed in every stadium for regular season use. So this is going to continue because everybody knows the ref always gets it wrong unless it's for your team. Always wrong. If it's against your team, it's wrong. If it's for your team, best ref ever. Absolutely best ref ever. A couple other things just kind of make note of. First of all, and I say this with sincerity, tough loss for the West Virginia baseball team. Eliminated from the Big 12 tournament by Kansas State 8-4. Now waiting for possibility of an NCAA regional berth. Got to wait till the selection show on May 27th. And one other item. I just thought this was amusing today. So don't talk to me about how tough your schedule is. The Mountaineers have added Mercyhurst as a new non-conference opponent for the 24-25 season. Mercyhurst is going to be entering its first season of Division I play as part of the Northeast Conference. So that doesn't excite me at all. It's a money game. Absolutely. When you see games like it's a money game. Need a win, pad the resume. Now, if you lose that game, oh boy, just ask Marshall how one of those games go. I would advise against it. You know, where's this game going to be played? Is it going to be played on the probably not on the road. No, they wouldn't do that, would they? Remember Marshall opened up on the road? Remember that? Their first game, Queens? First game? And that cracker box of a gymnasium and lost that. You remember that? Don't do that. Don't do that. Get that game somewhere down the schedule where, you know, they've had it. They've had it for. They're not like all in on you. Don't do that. Hey, welcome to Division I. Now, I will say this: the Mountaineers did welcome Marshall to Division I. Marshall and WVU, the first game when Marshall was back as a Division I school. So, and that game almost went the way for the Thundering Herd. So that would have been a really bad day in Mountain State for a lot of people if Marshall was able to win that one. But unfortunately, Marshall just ran out of gas in that one. So don't schedule games like this. Don't. Absolutely not. I don't even know how much. I don't know how good Mercyhurst is. I don't know that much about them. We're going to learn. We're going to learn real quick. This will probably be Mountaineers will probably throttle them. I would think the Mountaineers would throttle them. I don't know. They look like they're putting their basketball team back together. It's getting better in Morgantown. We will be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Of course, if you missed any part of today's show, you can go back and catch it. You can download our podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcast. You can get the show. Also, you can go to our website, wrvc.com. We post it there daily. You can subscribe to it as well on Apple Podcasts, and it'll come right to you. And I also post it on our social media links. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. And, of course, you'll get the show link there when it gets published. So you can follow me and you can keep up with me there. Looking forward to it. And we also post it on our Facebook page. It's The Drive with Paul Swann. Just do a search if you're on Facebook, and we'll post those links all there. And that way, if you missed any part of the show or you didn't get a chance to listen to it in its entirety, you can go back and listen to it at your leisure. Or if you don't get a chance to listen to it ever live, I thank you for those of you who do listen to it on the podcast. Thanks to our producer tonight, Ben Anderson. For Ben, I'm Paul Swann. This has been The Drive. Special thanks to our guest tonight, Bryce Blevins. We appreciate him for checking in with us, talking a little Herd baseball. Looking forward to what he has in store for him and his career the next couple of seasons with the Thundering Herd. That's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in. Back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.